For this video today, we're going to be talking about Akzentz Gel Art Powder. I still get a lot of questions from everybody about how to properly mix this. So all we're going to be doing today is just, for this tutorial, is just showing you guys how to work with your gel art powder. I do find that a lot of people buy this stuff and they go, oh cool, I can create 3D designs with my gel, and they find it really intimidating. They find that they don't know how to mix it properly, how to work with it. So I thought, well, let's just do a quick tutorial strictly on mixing, and then that way it gives you guys a better idea on what you're doing. I'm going to be using a purple gel today just so it stands out really well color-wise, because everything on my palette is white, and if I use a white powder, which I usually use a white gel, you're not going to see it very well. So the 3D Gel Art Powder is just a really fine triple sifted acrylic powder. I have tried mixing my gels with just a plain clear acrylic powder, but it's not as fine as this stuff, and it still leaves it a little bit chunky and a little bit lumpy. But you can see how fine of an acrylic powder this is. It's very, very, very fine. So I do recommend getting your hands on this stuff and playing around with it. Regular clear acrylic will work, but it just doesn't seem to give your final look to whatever you're creating. It's not as smooth, and it's just not as nice. But other people can work with it just fine. So this is my personal preference. If I'm going to be using my gel, I do like to use the Akzentz powder for sure. And I am going to be using the Options color when the Options gels. This is just a lavender cream. You can use Luxio and you can use Gel Play to mix with this. I'm not sure how well this mixes with all the other gel lines out there. My suggestion is try it. There are a few lines I know out there that it doesn't mix too well with. Other lines I have tried it mixes really well with. So trial and error in terms of mixing products together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just sort of have to try what you happen to have in your drawer and go from there. So I'm going to use, again, the Options color. When you're mixing your powder and your gel together, a good ratio is about 2 to 1. So your consistency should be, when you're done mixing, your end result should be sort of like a toothpastey speckle kind of consistency. I do like mixing my gel and my powder together on a tile. You can use the back of your paper form, you can use a piece of glass, you can use a mirror, whichever you prefer to use. I just like a tile. I like a big working space, so that's just my personal preference. So when you're mixing your gel and your powder together, all you want is just a squishy kind of mixing motion. You don't want to take your spatula and do this, because then you'll be creating air in the gel, and that's just never good. We don't want air pockets in what we're working on. So we're just basically pressing the powder into the gel. And you can see that it's starting to thicken up. And it's turning into sort of a paste for me, which is exactly what we want to do. And just keep working it and kneading it. When you know that this is at the consistency you like it to be at, it will sort of take on a dull appearance. And when you touch it, it should be a dry consistency. You don't want it to be sticky. You want it to be quite dry to the touch. And this is actually getting to be just where I want it. So, yep, this is really good. You can see as I'm touching this, it's quite dry, which is good. And it is quite a dull look to the gel now. It's not shiny as it was when I first put it on my palette. And you can see it's holding its shape as I'm leaving it where it is too, which is perfect. So when you touch your gel, when it's mixed, it's dry. You're not getting any sticky off of this at all. And now you're ready to work on whatever design you choose to work on. Now the wonderful thing is about with the gel art powder is that this is not going to set up, it's not going to cure Nothing will happen to it until you put your client's finger underneath the light. So if you're just starting out learning how to do 3D art, this is a great way to start. This will not go anywhere. You can move it around. It's not going to set up like acrylic will. You can get your shape exactly how you like it and then cure it. This will also hold, say that you've mixed too much for your first client and you know your maybe second or third client also wants to have a 3D design. Cover this up with some foil, put it in your drawer. As long as it's not in the direct light, this will hold for a couple of hours. You may need to add a little bit more powder in before you start working with your next client, but this will hold for a little while for you for the day. I wouldn't recommend mixing this and leaving it overnight. It's going to be pretty gross and probably a little bit cured by the next day. But if you want to use this for your next client, you'll be fine. Yeah, this is still perfect. And when you're working with your gel art powder, never put your container away. You will need this to dip your brush into to create your forms, and always have a little dab and dish of your prep and wipe liquid as well to keep your brush clean. I do have another couple videos posted on how to properly work with this and create a design. So this, all we're doing now is just a straight mixing video. But definitely check out the other videos on my channel to see how to create a design with your gel art powder. So if you guys are still stuck with questions on how to mix, please let me know. You can message me through my Facebook page and ask me any questions that you may have. If you're still stuck, please let me know. This is fairly easy once you get the hang of it, so hopefully you guys have learned a little bit from this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.